Muslim father and son. They're both her. They ring him. So the father is getting a phone call. It's his daughter being. This is 2010 I first met him. I think it's about 2015. I'll get emotional thinking about it.
Hi guys, this is Sahar TV, and today we're going to be watching Tommy Robinson on the PBD podcast talking about Islam. It's going to be interesting. Let's take a look.
84, 6 million. 2004, 13 million. 2025, 25 million. So they went 6 million, 13 million, 25 million today. They're doubling every 20 years. They'll be at 50 million in 2044 and then 100 million in 2064. So let's go to US. US 84, 1.2 million. 2004, 2.35 million. 2020, 24, today, 4.5 million. We're doubling every 20 years. We're at 4.5 million. Let's go to Canada. Canada, 84, 150,000. Then they went to 600,000. Then they went to 1.8 million. They're 3xing every 20 years. So Canada's competing as well. But why are so many people afraid of them? I keep asking this question. The UK is a very proud country, at one point financial capital of the world. Everything flowed through you. You guys were known as the power, the empire. Why are they so afraid of this community that's completely destroying their identity?
It's a mixture of things. It's a mixture of fear, but it also illustrates the power of political correctness. The power, and this is what Americans really need to get ready for. Because I see a lot of frustration coming out of America to do with immigration over the years for Hispanic immigration. And I'm sitting thinking, you've got no idea. Your borders have just been opened by Biden. It's changed. You know, you had Mexican immigration for so many years. I wish we had Mexican immigration. Yeah? When the Polish come to the UK and people are moaning, I think, what are you moaning about? Well, because I'm from Luton. Yeah? But they're hardworking. They're Catholic. They're family orientated. There will be some teething problems like there were because my mum come from Ireland, but they will be proud in the end of their country and they will assimilate and integrate. But you have just allowed open border mass immigration to 8 million, 10 million, however many have come through your borders. And the numbers is the biggest problem. And you've now had Syrians, Somalians, Pakistanis, Afghanis, and all you have to do is just basics. Just look at the way they think in those countries, and don't take Tommy Robinson's opinion. Look at Pew Research, any of the top research things. 99% of Afghanis want Sharia law. Their views on homosexuality, their views on free speech, their views on all the things are alien to ours. And the problem is, once they come in and come such a powerful vote bank, like the numbers you just went through, I looked at numbers from Manchester. So in Manchester, we had the terrorist attack at the Ariana Grande concert. When I looked at those numbers, they had 25,000 Muslims. 10 years later, 50,000. 10 years later, 100,000. So you said they're doubling every 20 years, not in Manchester, every 10 years. Yeah. Now, 100,000, if that becomes 200,000, and 10 years later becomes 400,000, there's only 500,000 people live in that city. Now, 50% of the British public don't vote. 50% do not vote. They're disillusioned, that's us, the working class, we're fed up. Most people say they're not rich enough or poor enough for it to make a difference. But the Islamic community, and I can only talk from experience of Luton again, yeah? At the time, when I last looked at it, 2011, we had 19 mosques at that time. Now, the leader, the mosques have one leader. They come together as the Council of Mosques. That leader sits down with the Labour Party, your Democrat Party. They sit down and they do a deal for the vote. And they do agreements and they give them concessions and they agree things. And then from that one meeting, they get 40,000 votes. Now, when we were challenging, when we had Luton, we were challenging the council, we were challenging everything that's happening. And my leader of my council, her name was Hazel Simmons, she just looked at us when I went to meet and she said, there's not enough for you. Sit back. Well, we don't care. There's not enough for you. And that vote bank becomes so powerful. And the appeasement and the numbers as we talk about how big is the problem. If you look now, you've seen this whole thing blow up recently, first week of January, which...
The more of them in the UK, the more of them will vote. And because 50% of people in the UK don't vote, the Muslims are going to end up voting out European government, and Sharia law is slowly going to be integrated.
Which was about the rape gang scandal, yeah? I've done a 5-part series. As I said, we formed this organisation in Luton, the English Defence League. We challenged this extremist terrorist group. We followed them. That was our tactics, was to follow them, confront them, highlight them. When I started doing that, I visited towns and cities across the UK, and I had families crying. I mean, like some of the experiences I've had to meet one father in Blackpool. They took his daughter. I mean, literally, people's daughters are being taken across the country. And the police. This may sound so insane to an American audience. The police are allowing it facilitating it, accommodating it. The government know, the police know, religious leaders know. There's a
How
conspiracy of
is that possible, though? Because when you say that to the average person, they say, okay, what is the incentive?
Yep.
Is it a money play? Is it blackmail? No. Is there do they need to vote? It's not
Good
like
question.
they're voting. Are they good for the economy? A Pew Research 2021 report says that 41% of Muslims ages 16 to 64 are economically inactive, compared to 24.7% of overall population. Inactive. They don't work. They don't contribute to society. They're out. 59% of. So, but there has to be something where one says that's why they allow them to do whatever they want to do and they can get away with everything. What is the motivation? How are they winning?
Well, we can only go off what the research is. So when I first come out in 2009 with the English Defence League, I sat on a show called Jeremy Paxman, which was Jeremy Paxman was the most fierce presenter for Newsnight, the biggest political debate show. And I remember when I went on there, and everyone was excited who are the English Defence League oppositions, because they said he's going to crucify me, he's going to finish me, because they viewed me as uneducated because of the way I speak and the way I talk and my background. America don't understand the class system that goes on in the UK. The working class was supposed to just shut up, basically, yeah? And
What a shame, huh? Douglas Murray has pretty much the same way of thinking and the same thoughts as Tommy Robinson, but nobody criticizes Douglas Murray the way people criticize him, only because of the way he speaks and the way he looks and the way he acts.
we're not allowed to have an opinion. And I remember going on there with Jeremy Paxman, and I sat there and I tried to explain to him that our daughters are being picked up outside schools by large groups of Pakistani men, kidnapped. And none of these videos have aged well for them. And he sat there and said, you expect us to believe, like many people might be thinking now, you expect us to believe that this is being allowed to happen. So let's fast forward to 2015. For 5 years, I've gone around the country. I was on about the father in Blackpool. I can give you hundreds and hundreds of these examples. The father in Blackpool, they take his daughter. When they take his daughter, the father and the son, Muslim father and son, they're both her. They ring him. So the father is getting a phone call. It's his daughter being. He has to listen to his daughter being. He rang me this is 2010 I first met him. I think it was about 2015. I'll get emotional thinking about it. I think it was about 2015 he rang me up. She's back. She's back, Tommy. I've got her back. 2 kids later. So this is going on across our whole country, yeah. And when that's going on, we're fear-mongering. Remember, we come under immense attack. And
You can see how emotional it gets Tommy Robinson, because Tommy's fighting for the future of the UK. And if immigration continues to happen from Muslim states and them trying to impose Sharia law and trying to bring their culture to a westernized country, he knows that it's going to put his children at risk, his friends' children at risk. So he's truly fighting for the future of the UK.
Rotherham, you've heard of Rotherham? So Rotherham is the scapegoat city for these gangs. It's where they allowed the story to come out. And it didn't come out to 2014, 15. I was sat in prison. And breaking news, what happened is a journalist called Andrew Norfolk, and the reasons he gave was he had known for years, this is his words, not mine, he had known for years that these gangs were operating, but he was too scared because they were all Pakistani men and all the victims were young English girls. And he says it was the far-right dream. So why are you even thinking about politics or anything, yeah? He said it was a far-right dream. So he was too scared to report on it, then saw the emergence of the English Defence League. Now, we were very vocal. We become a household name, not just in the UK, but across the globe within 12 to 24 months. And what that organisation was young, determined English men who weren't going to back down. And we travelled the country. And remember, I knew it was never going to be female nurses or doctors that stood up against these gangs on the streets. Because when you stand up against them, violence, threats, intimidation, police raids. So the organisation forms. Across the country, there's been a conspiracy of silence in every town and city. So many high-ranking people now have dirty hands who have hid this crime. We're on the streets. We made it impossible. 5,000 men charging through the streets with signs that our daughters are not halal meat. If you listen to the videos, I give a presentation in Russia. I had to go to Russia because my free speech was taken in the UK. I gave a presentation called The Rape of Britain where I went back and I showed English Defence League forms here. If you want to see a graph of the arrests for these Islamic rape gangs, the graph just goes straight like this. English Defence League forms in 2009, 2010, 2011, boom, through the roof. They could no longer hide it because the world's media were coming to our demonstrations. Our speeches about they're raping our daughters, they're taking our kids. Then Muslim pedos off our streets. You've got five. Whereas people had been whispering about Islam, it's too scared to talk about it. Overnight, you had 5,000, 10,000 men screaming about it. And it was a catalyst across the country. And I then realised what I've seen in Luton. Luton's just a blueprint for every town and city. And I realised, geez, this is coordinated. It's happening across the whole country. I'm sitting down with families and they're crying their eyes out. His daughter's been missing for 3-4 days. And they're going to the police and not getting any help. And all this was unbelievable. And fast forward to 2014, 2015, this big study come in the city of Rotherham. Rotherham has a 3.7% Muslim population. 1,400 children they found that had been raped. There'd been murders. But in that city, the investigation found the police knew it was happening. They were too scared to tackle it through fear of being branded racist. So say that out loud. This is where you need to understand, as the United States of America, that the Democrats, because remember, many of these Islamic immigration will end up in Democrat cities.
Patrick can't even believe what he's saying.
They will then become that powerful as a vote bank. And that's what happened in many cities across the UK. That the political party care more about the votes and power than they do about, they'll sacrifice the kids. And that sounds insane. But when you look at the numbers, so Rotherham, 3.7% Muslim population, 1,400 children had been raped in that town. When that come out, and the study come out, some of the examples, Patrick, two dads get together. Their 13-year-old daughters are in a house, 10 Pakistani Muslim men raping them. The dads turn up at the house to get the kids back. And remember, this is not me. Read the report. This is not me saying it. The two dads go to get their daughters back. The police turn up and arrest the dads. They leave the girls in there. Another example, an 11-year-old girl's in a derelict house, an abandoned house. 5 Muslim men are sexually assaulting and raping her. The police turn up. They arrest the little girl for being drunk and disorderly.
I saw that one.
They literally allowed this to happen.
How though?
How? But
How are they so scared when things like when you start doing this to kids? Who is not at the top? A prime minister, the royal family, the most powerful people. Who is not sitting there saying we can't tolerate this?
No, not just can't tolerate it. They celebrated everyone who covered it up. Not just, and that goes to the rule. So when all this blew up, 2015, people are realizing, oh my God, everything we were saying was right.
The fact that people are scared to say stuff because they are scared to be labeled as a racist is appalling. How can you eliminate injustices in this world if you're scared to be labeled racist? If rape happens, it needs to be eliminated from the root. What's causing it? Where are these people from? Deport them. Why are they still there? Why is everything focused on Israel? Why is everything focused on Iran? Why is everything focused on America? Why nothing is focused on the injustices happening to people in the UK? I'm with Tommy on this, and I'm happy he's doing interviews. I'm happy he's going around. I'm happy he's talking to people. I'm happy he's got the influence that he's got because I'm with him. And no, not all Muslims are bad. It's not what I'm saying. But Islam itself brings a hateful ideology to all the countries they go to Canada, to France. France is no longer France, it's Francistan. I gotta respect Tommy for fighting for his country. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We just opened a Discord. You can join that Discord. It's in the link in the description. And if you want to support me financially, you can do that through Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the link in the description as well. Also, you can become a YouTube member to enjoy specific YouTube perks. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.